Hey guys, Kevin here, and look at this unironed shirt. I can't be bothered today. But what I can be bothered doing is talking about the announcement from Motorola yesterday. They did an announcement about the Moto G6 and the Moto E5. I'll be honest guys, I don't want to talk about the E5. It's a really, kind of budget phone. It's a good phone if you want a super cheap phone, but I want to talk about the G range. As you guys know, the G range is just not just one phone. There's a few different phones, and this year we're getting the Moto G Plus, G6 Plus, sorry, Moto G6, and then the Moto G6 Play. So there's different variations of these phones. Now, I owned the Moto G originally, the very old one, and I bought one for my brother and my mum at the time because it was a game changer. The Motorola G range was a game changer. It was a mid-range phone selling for like £100 to £150 in the UK at a time when Samsung and all that were selling phones with the same specs at more than twice the price. So this was a game changer, and the range has been going on, well, this is like 5 or 6 years now. So it's got a summary of the new phones here. The Moto G6 Plus, 5.9 inch screen, 18 by 9 aspect ratio. You can see the different cameras here. It's going to be €300, 299. The G6, 5.7 inch screen, 250 USD here. And the G6 Play, 4,000 milliamp battery, $200 USD. Now there's different variations here. If I look at the UK website, you can see just now that it's got the G6 Plus and it's got the G6 Play, but it doesn't have the G6. Well, at least not now. I'm not sure if we're going to add it later, but there is obviously different, the phones are being released in different markets at different price points and all that. So I'll just take a quick look through these. This is the official sales page here, Moto G6, and it's kind of the design we've came to know and love. I think it looks okay. The phones are always built well. It's got the dual camera in the back. Go through the processors. It's got a 2.2 octa-core 2.2 gigahertz processor, 5.9 inch screen as you saw, full HD, Gorilla Glass. I think that's 3. We'll check that in the specs soon. And it is, where is it there? Snapchat. It doesn't tell you. I'm surprised it doesn't tell you that. I've got it in the specs page anyway. So the G6 Plus is the most expensive version, but it's only got a 3,200 milliamp battery. The other version, actually the Play version, you can see here has got a 4,000 milliamp battery. So the G6 Plus, it will be the most expensive one, but it'll also be the most powerful one. So you can see here specs, new smart camera system, designed to impress, blah blah blah. Right, okay. Android 8.0. 64 gigabytes with the micro SD slot. It does have a headphone jack. Snapdragon 630. So it's octa-core, Adreno 508 GPU. 4 gigabyte or 6 gigabyte of RAM. I assume that will depend on the region you're in. So depending where you are in the world, it could be 4 or 6, or you could have both versions. USB Type-C, 3200, IPS screen, 1080p screen. 3.5mm headphone jack, and that's quite good. So there's the camera. Rear camera is 12 megapixels and 5 megapixels. 8 megapixels at the front. Excuse me. Audio, 3 microphones. There's all the bands. And you can see this in the GSM Arena page. This is probably a better place to check specs. And yeah, I think it looks like quite a good phone. Now they're saying that this is going to be €300, but UK or USA will be equivalent, but this one is saying it's actually 6 gigabyte of RAM, but as you saw from the specs page there, it could be 4 or 6. Now the G6 Play, this is the other one that's in the UK, and in fact I'll show you the GSM Arena specs, this one first. 5.7 inch screen, and whereas this one has the 1080 by 2160 pixels, this one has a much smaller resolution, 720 by 1440, so the pixels per inch is a lot smaller. 3 gigabytes of RAM. It's only got the Snapdragon 430, so it's not going to be as powerful, but it does have a 4,000 milliamp battery. This is a cheaper version of the phone, and you'll see that reflected in the fact it's €200 instead of 300. And on the sales page, this is the Play version. 32 hours of battery life, 1.4 gigahertz octa-core processor. So this isn't as powerful, but battery life should be good. It's a cheaper phone across the board. It doesn't look as nice. But if I go down to the bottom, we could buy all the marketing speak. Right. So you can see there, Android 8.0, 32 gigabyte storage. You know, a lot of the specs will be similar as far as you know, the storage and things like that, the micro SD slot and that. 4,000 milliamp battery, 30 hours battery life. What are they claiming for this one actually for battery life? Not that you would get it, but just claiming all day battery. That tells you nothing. Yeah, 720p screen. Still got the headphone jack, which is good to see. Fingerprint reader. So yeah, this is the Play version. It's not as powerful, and it has a 4,000 milliamp battery. Now you can see here it's got a 3 gigabyte RAM. It's got the Snapdragon 430. Essentially, the G6 Plus is the best phone. It's the most powerful one from the G6 range. This is the least powerful, and sandwiched in the middle is just the regular G6. You can see here it's got the 1080 by 2160, so it's a 5.7 inch screen, but it has the better resolution. 4 gigabyte of RAM, 3,000 milliamp battery, so it's got more RAM than that version, and it's got a better processor as well. So the processor, where is it? There it's here, Snapdragon 450, octa-core 1.8, and dual 12 and 5 in the back and 8 at the front. So this one is €250. So Motorola always do this. They always give a few different options as to what you buy, and you can see here you've got the G6 Plus, G6 Play. Well, in fact, in order, the most expensive, the regular version, if you'd call it that, and then the cheap one. That's the best way to look at it. Expensive, regular, cheap. That's the best way to look at it. Now, I think the G range always does very well. It's always one of the top selling phones on Amazon. I've got a few friends, you know, I did a review of the G5 last year for you guys, and it always does well, this phone. At the same time though, there's always a little bit of confusion between the different variations, so I'm all for choice. I'm all for, you know, people, you know, being a cheaper version, a more expensive version, but there is always confusion. I always see a lot of people saying that they thought, you know, they bought a particular version thinking it was a more expensive one and all that. So bear in mind, all of these phones are called the G6. One's called the G6, one's called the G6 Play, one's called the G6 Plus. But yes, they have a similar design. Yes, they are very similar as far as features and things like that. But the processor and the RAM and the storage will be different. So bear that in mind. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between them, but from a performance point of view, the Plus will beat the other phones. So it is significant. And, you know, if you want to, you know, the best way to look at it perhaps is the fact it's 3 different phones and not 3 variations of the same phone. This is 3 different phones that just happen to have the G6 brand. So I'll leave a link to these pages and you can check them out for yourself. This isn't a flagship phone. The G6 range is a mid-range phone. But over the last 5-6 years, the Motorola G range it pretty much has set the standard for mid-range phones, set the benchmark every year. And you know, whenever you talk about the best mid-range phone or the best or the most affordable Android phone or the cheapest Android phone, people always talk about the Moto G, you know, be it the G1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or the 6. And there might be other phones out there in the market, but the Moto G6 will be a benchmark. And when you're talking about other budget phones, this phone is always going to be in the mix. So I'll leave a link to these pages, guys. Let me know what you think about it, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Thanks a lot.